So today we learned that AC Milan will go forward and sign Mike Maignan. I hope I'm saying that right. The goalkeeper from Lille as their new starting goalkeeper, which obviously leaves questions to be asked. Where does Gigi Donnarumma end up? And I'm gonna go over some about four or five teams that I think could sign Gigi this off season. He has, I think, about 33 or 34 days left in his contract before it runs out. To the people who remember, I believe it was when Gigi was playing for the U21s, when Italy fans, I believe it was Italy fans, threw money at him from behind the net because it seemed like he only cared about money when he signed his new contract, or it was something along the lines of that. But it was interesting to see at that point because he was still a very young kid. I think he may have been 18 or 19. I know now he's 21, 22. But he's a fascinating player to me because Sinisa Mihajlovic gave him his first start in the Serie A for AC Milan. This was a number of years ago when Gigi was 16 years old, which is very young for a goalkeeper to kind of become the number one for a team. But Sinisa Mihajlovic showed trust in him. He made him his number one goalkeeper, and Gigi's been the number one ever since. He's been the captain of Milan, and he's one of the, I would say, one of the best 5-6 goalkeepers in the world. Obviously, I got to see him firsthand when he played Red Star in the round of 32 in the Europa League. He made some amazing stops. He's a tall keeper who can boot the ball. He's good with his feet. He could do a little bit of everything. But now it's going to be interesting when he leaves and where he's going to go, as I said. So I think it's only fair that we start with the Serie A, which is the league, obviously, that he plays in currently for AC Milan. And the first team that we're going to talk about is Juventus, because Juventus does have Szczesny in net. He's had his ups and downs the last year or so. Gigi Buffon is another Gigi. Buffon is in his 40s, and he's departing Juventus this summer as well. So they're going to be looking for a number one. One thing I will say is, and what a lot of people are saying, if Gigi Donnarumma does sign for Juventus, he's going to become the most hated man in Italy, because you're going from one club to a hated rival, which is something that, doesn't happen too often, but when it does, those players hear the boos, and there's always death threats and things like that nonsense. In terms of other Serie A teams, I don't really know if there's anyone else. I don't see him going to Inter Milan, a direct rival of AC Milan. I know Handanovic is getting a little bit older. I don't see him going to Inter Milan. He obviously plays for AC Milan now. I think that Atalanta and Lazio would be a little bit of a step down for him. I don't see him going there. Real Madrid is another interesting team because they have Thibaut Courtois, who I think is going to stay there. He's also an exceptional goalkeeper. We look at Barcelona as another team that kind of has thrown its hat in the ring for Gigi Donnarumma. I read rumors today that they might be looking to depart with Ter Stegen, who's another outstanding goalkeeper. So it feels like I'm mentioning teams who have these goalkeepers who are in the top 10 in the world. And if he wants to play for one of the best teams in the world, you're going to have to dethrone a really good goalkeeper. So Barcelona, I think, would be an interesting switch for him. Barcelona's looking to kind of revamp their entire roster this offseason. They're going to bring in Sergio Aguero. Obviously, they have Messi. They have the kids coming from La Masia. A lot of young kids who can still play. They might look to get rid of some of their older players, like Coutinho might leave, and we don't know what's going to happen with Busquets. There's a chance that he could possibly leave. Barcelona's another team, obviously, that you keep in mind. PSG is also a very interesting team. They'll throw money basically at any players willing to come. Donnarumma could be one of them. Keylor Navas, you guessed it, another really, really good goalkeeper. But he's getting up there in age, so he's 34. If you can upgrade to a guy like Donnarumma, I think it would go a long way for PSG. Like I said, they're willing to kind of throw money at anyone to solve their problems, even though Keylor Navas hasn't really been that big of a problem for the squad. I think they're defending and some of the goals that they give up have been the issue. But actually, Keylor Navas, when they played Chelsea, I think he made a few mistakes there that was kind of like, man, he's a really good goalkeeper, but sometimes he allows these really stupid goals that he should be saving in. But Gigi Donnarumma, I think that's one of the teams that kind of keep an eye on. In terms of the Premier League, Chelsea recently bought a goalkeeper, two actually in the last 2 years. They're not going to look to go for a goalkeeper. Man City has two really good ones in Zach Steffen and Ederson. We go down the line here. Who else we got? Manchester United. A little bit of a goalie debate, but I don't think Donnarumma is going to go there with De Gea and Dean Henderson. I think Dean Henderson is the guy going forward for Manchester United, although I think I would like him at Manchester United, to tell you the truth. I would hate facing him as an Arsenal fan, but that's another place that he could possibly go. Now, since we're already on the topic of Arsenal, Bernd Leno has requested a transfer at the end of the season. We'll see what happens with that. Going forward, obviously Arsenal doesn't have a true number one. Matt Ryan is being sent back to Brighton as his loan is done. Rinderson isn't ready to step in net. We've seen him a few times and he is not ready. I get that, Rinderson isn't a kid. He's some 24, 25 years of age. Don't know if he'll ever be ready to step in for a big club. So Arsenal would be interesting. I just don't think that he's going to come and play for like a mid-table side, which is what Arsenal has become, unfortunately, as it pains me to say that, in the last 2 seasons. So I don't see him coming to Arsenal. A team that I'm going to throw out that could kind of be under the radar, even though they do have a number one goalkeeper in Pickford, is Everton. And the only reason why I say that is because of the Ancelotti connection. Another fellow Italian who could lure him to Everton. Everton isn't afraid to spend money either. They've spent a lot of it the last, actually since Ancelotti got there, and I think the season before that they spent a lot of money as well. So they're not shy about spending the money. So maybe if they could look, to offload Pickford or something like that, they look to bring him in. That's like a sleeper team that I would have. And then when you look at the German league, there's not really much there. Borussia Dortmund, I don't know in terms of, I think Donnarumma wants to fight for, league titles. And, if guys like Sancho and Jude Bellingham and Haaland leave in the next year or two, that squad is going to be revamped again. Who knows where they finish in the league, although they usually are in the top 4. But Donnarumma obviously wants to win titles. So if I had to pick one team that I think should make a run for Donnarumma, I think it's Barcelona, one of the biggest teams in the world. Like I said, if they can offload Ter Stegen, and there have been rumors that maybe Borussia Dortmund could look at Ter Stegen, being from Germany, you could see the link there. I think bringing in Donnarumma would be, as of right now, the best option for Barcelona. I still wouldn't sleep on Juventus just because they are in the Serie A, and Italian goalkeepers usually like staying in their own domestic league. So that's something that I would keep an eye on. But if I had to choose right now, if I were Barcelona, I would make a bid to sign Gigi Donnarumma.